Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is my second episode in my Pranayam series, and today we're going to cover the basics of Pranayam as to how you should do Pranayam correctly so that it gives you maximum benefits. So when we talk about Pranayam in Hindi means Pran means life and Ayam means to stretch it or to make it long. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to make our life longer by elongating the breath. Because in our olden text it's written that every person has fixed number of breaths. So if you take shallow breaths, then you will use all of them very quickly, and that's why you'll have a shorter lifespan. But if you actually take longer breaths and deeper breaths, then you will not finish them that quickly, and you can have a longer lifespan, and also something which will make you less anxious as well. Because if you see the bigger animals, like to just give you an example, tortoise, which is very stable, very calm, very quiet, takes very long breaths and has a very long lifespan. Whereas if you look at a dog or a cat, they pant and they have shorter breaths, and their age span is also low. So if you would want to, as a human being, because we are conscious human beings, we know what to do with our lives. If we are aware of this fact, then if we increase the length of our breath, then we can increase our life, because pranayam means increasing your life force or increasing your lifespan. So this is the basic objective of pranayam. So when we are sitting down and doing pranayam, we want to slow down. We want to increase the capacity at which we are breathing. So what you can do is probably take a timer and see how many number of breaths you are taking in 1 minute. It probably comes around in the range of 15 to 18. Whereas if you see the yogis who actually practice pranayam and meditation for years, actually have a breathing capacity of 10 breaths per minute. So they take 8 to 10 breaths per minute. And when you start taking that many less number of breaths, then you know that your anxiety will go down, and also you will live longer. So this is how pranayam is an activity through which you increase your breathing capacity. So there are certain rules in which under which you do pranayam. So it's not something where you just unconsciously just breathe in and breathe out. There is a there are particular steps that you have to follow and progress in terms of how you're doing pranayam. So if you are inhaling and exhaling in just one way, and let's say you practice like that for a year, and you've not made any progression in terms of how you're doing your pranayam, then you will not see any changes. So how, for example, in swimming, which is like a sport, when you initially start there, you just do couple of laps and then you get tired, but then you increase your stamina and you work towards it and you start taking more laps. So maybe after let's say 2 months, you can probably do 6 to 8 laps without any problem, because you've increased your capacity, you've increased your stamina. Similarly, when you do pranayam, you increase your capacity, you increase your stamina of breathing slowly. So if you are taking let's say inhalation and exhalation, probably you're inhaling for 3 seconds. Then next time you have to try that you take inhalation for 4 seconds and 5 seconds and 6 seconds and 7 seconds. So you're constantly working on your lung capacity, and that's when you know that you're doing pranayam correctly. So this is how we're going to do pranayam. So when I'm going to be talking about how to do pranayam correctly, you maybe just keep a diary and see what is your inhalation and exhalation capacity. How much you are inhaling and how much are you exhaling. Is it 3 seconds? Is it 4 seconds? Is it 5 seconds? And then maintaining a diary and making sure that you're progressing on your pranayam. That is where you will see the real benefit. So there are certain rules that you follow when you do pranayam. The first and foremost rule that you follow when you do pranayam is to have a ritual around it. So ritual in the sense that this is a process in which you create a lot of energy around you. So ideally you should not sit on somebody else's mat. You should have your own mat, and you should not keep exchanging it with other people. Try to do it on your mat, because you're creating a certain amount of energy, and that kind of impacts the aura around it. So trying to keep the mat same. Also try to keep the place same, because you are it's like going into some sort of a zone. You're going into a zone of pranayam. So zoning in is very important for you to be able to stay focused and be able to do it mindfully. So maybe, you know, fix a place in your house where you would want to do it. If there is sunlight, it's even better. If it's airy and nice and if there is a lot of green plants around it, even better. You can light an incense stick and maybe play a very soft music, like chanting music, similar kind of music, so that it makes you go in the zone. Because it's very important that initially when you start doing pranayam, it can be really boring and it can be very like, you know, what am I doing? This is so boring, it's not giving me any benefit. Till you get to a point where you start enjoying it. In the beginning, zoning in is very important. So setting a ritual around it, doing it around the same time every day will help you zone into getting that right energy, where then you can sit and do pranayam for 15 to 20 minutes. The second thing which is important with pranayam is that you have to do it mindfully with awareness. So just thinking something else and then just breathing in, breathing out without any consciousness, giving any consciousness to it, will not give you the benefit. So be aware of how you are breathing in, how you are breathing out. Did you run out of breath very quickly, or was it better today? How was it from yesterday? Were you feeling better? Did you feel breathless? Did you know, just paying attention how your breath patterns are changing. Just being more aware of it will give you more benefits. The third thing that is a very important rule for pranayam is that you should not do it with jerk. So when you are inhaling and exhaling, it should be as smooth as possible. Don't make it too jerky. That, you know, your inhalation and exhalation are like all over the place. It should have less jerks and it should be as smooth as possible. Other than that, don't try to rush into things. So if you have 4 exercises, pranayam exercises to do, you do 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and you finish it and you're done with it. Don't do it like that. Try to do it slowly. When you have time and energy to give to pranayam, that's only when you sit and do it properly. So do it slowly. And the third thing is that do not do it forcefully. So if your capacity is 3, let's say taking inhalation is, you are able to inhale only for 3 seconds and exhaling only for 6 seconds, it's okay. Don't force yourself to then increase your capacity suddenly. Do it gently and push yourself a little bit, but not too much. So don't force yourself unless you get there naturally by your body's capacity. Now when we are doing pranayam, the most important part is the inhalation and the exhalation. So inhalation and exhalation has to be always done in the ratio 1:2, which means that if you're inhaling for 3 seconds, you should exhale for 6 seconds and then again inhale for 3 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. That is really important because inhalation is a stress inducing activity and exhalation is stress reducing activity. So when you exhale for longer, that's when you're reducing your stress levels. So it's very, very important that your exhalation should be longer than your inhalation. Ideally 1:2, and it could be longer than, even exhalation can be even longer than that, but minimum 1:2 is the ratio that you should always maintain between inhalation and exhalation. The other thing which is important is that when you inhale, because you're inhaling air inside, your stomach should go out, and when you are exhaling, your stomach should go in. So you should always check that your inhalation is taking the stomach out and exhalation is taking the stomach in. Now I'm going to explain you how to do pranayam correctly. How do you actually do this properly so that it increases your capacity over a period of time? So I have got 2 glasses here through which I'm going to explain you how to breathe in and breathe out. So if you see, this is a glass, and just imagine this is your body and you're taking air in, and the water that I'm pouring in is actually air. So now when I'm breathing in, this is how my air gets filled, which is first your stomach gets filled and then your chest gets filled. And when you exhale, this is how you empty your air, which is first your chest exhales, and after that in the end is when the air leaves the stomach. So this is how you're going to do. You always use this analogy to check if you're doing this correctly or not. So inhalation first into your stomach and then into your chest, and exhalation first out of your chest and then from your stomach. So now I'm going to show you example of a yogic breathing. Yogic breathing is nothing but just trying to use your body parts, your chest and your stomach to do the breathing in and out correctly. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your hand here on your chest, one, and the other hand goes on your stomach. And now you're going to inhale. So I'm going to show you 3 breaths when I'm inhaling first in my stomach, then my chest, and exhaling is going first out of the chest and then out of the stomach. So I'm inhaling in. This is yogic breathing. This is how you're going to inhale and exhale every time you're going to do pranayam. So doing pranayam correctly and using your stomach and inhaling correctly and exhaling correctly will give you the maximum benefits as far as pranayam is concerned. I would suggest that till my next video comes up where we'll be doing proper pranayam exercises, you can just practice yogic breathing for a few days. Try to inhale and exhale in this way and see whether you're doing it mindfully, you're doing it correctly or not. Your stomach should expand when you're inhaling in and it should contract when you're exhaling out. So things like that, small details are very important so that you do pranayam correctly and you get the maximum benefits out of it. So this was the end of my this episode where I taught you the basics of how to do pranayam correctly. In my next episode, we're going to be talking about different techniques of different pranayams, how to do them differently, and what benefits you can get out of those pranayam. I hope you like this video and the information that I provided you. Please subscribe, like and share my video to as many people as possible, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.